Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pageant Sit Down. My name's Regina Lena, and I am so excited for all of you to be here with us this evening. I know it's right before a holiday, but here you are enjoying your Wednesday night with us. I'm really excited because my guest, I have known her since she was little. When she was competing in a different pageant, I've seen her grow. She's a dancer, a singer, a performer, and that's what it's called, but she'll correct me if I'm wrong. So welcome to the Pageant Sit Down, Miss Teen Canada's Top Choice 2019, Chelsea Starr. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you for joining us. Like I said off the top, I've known you for a very long time, and I've watched and I've seen you grow, but there's many people here who may not know who you are. So Chelsea, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. So hello everyone, my name is Chelsea Starr. I'm 14 years old. I'm a dancer, singer, model, and pageant queen. I'm the Miss Teen Canada Top Choice 2019, and I'm also the Little Miss Philippines second runner-up 2018.
Perfect. Yes, and that's where I met you back in 2018? I feel like it's been longer. But I met you when you did Miss Philippines or Little Miss Philippines PIDC, and I remember watching you in rehearsals because I was coaching some of the sessions. And when I saw you, I was like, "This girl's gonna win! Like, there's no way she's not." And then when you became a runner-up, I was like, "Okay, there's a reason why. There's a reason why this didn't work out, and it's because the following year, look where you were." So I'm so excited to see where you've come since then.
Yeah.
Well, there's a question which I want to start off with from Instagram. And that question is, how did you first get involved in pageants?
Ooh, I like that question. So I guess I can give you the whole, like the moment that it happened, I guess. My mom called me to her room back 2018, and she was like, "I got this message on Facebook from this pageant, and they're asking you to be in it." And I was like, "Pageant, whoa," because I heard people done pageants before, and I thought it was like something impossible to be a part of. So when I heard someone wanted me to be in a pageant, I was like, slow down, whoa. So we checked it out, and I was like, this is really cool. And she's like, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, absolutely. And it was a really great decision, I think. So that's how I got into pageants.
I love that. And through PIDC, they were able to give you a platform to perform as well at their events. And I think that was maybe one of the greatest things that came out of that pageant for you was a platform or a stage really to show your talent and to show the Filipino community who Chelsea Starr really is.
Yes, they did give me a lot of chances to perform. And before that, I was just dancing in like recitals and competitions. And then now I was like exposed to this whole new thing of performing where there's like a bunch of people, a lot of Filipino people, and they love to dance along with my dancing, which makes me feel really nice. So it was great. It was a great start.
I love that. Well, you are a very talented dancer. You're a talented overall performer. When I see you do your flips and I see you do your, I was just like, okay, first off, how long have you been dancing for, and what type of dances do you do?
So I've been dancing since I was 2 years old. I had to think about that for a second. So I've been dancing for a while, obviously. I do all types of dance. I do hip hop, jazz, ballet, acro, tap, musical theater. Last summer, I did a lot of like ballroom dancing, which is something I never done before, but that was super fun. I don't know if I forgot. Oh, I do point as well. I can't remember if I forgot something, but I love dancing so much, and I've been doing it for a while.
That is awesome. And then you tapped into singing. Were you a singer first or a dancer first?
Definitely dancing first. How I got into singing is through JDL. I got through it technically through PIDC because they were like at every event because it's a Filipino community. And my mom was like, "Just try it. Let's see how it goes." I learned that I was definitely not a born singer. I know everyone's like, Filipinos can sing because it like runs in the family. Not with me, definitely not.
Don't worry, me too.
It was something really exciting, and it's something I really love today. So I'm very glad I took that risk and went for it anyways.
Well, you're really great at everything that you've done. And so you went from being a performer, so dancing, singing, to pageantry. You started off as a Little Miss, and then you moved your way to the teen division at Canada's Top Choice. What was it like transitioning from the Little Miss to the teen?
That's a good question. So for the Little Miss, that was my first pageant. I was one of the oldest. I think it was 11. That sounds really weird saying, but I think there was another girl who was also my age, and the other girls were younger. And then at Canada's Top Choice, I was actually supposed to be in the junior division because I was 12 years old, but there was not enough people in the teen division and too many in the junior. So because I looked taller or older, I guess they just moved me to the teen division because I think it was supposed to be 13 or up or 14 or up, but they just moved me because there wasn't enough. So I wasn't expecting to see that transition, but it did happen. But it wasn't that different, honestly.
Okay, that's good. Well, you clearly won the title, so you must have done something right. Is pageantry something that you're going to continue to do now that you've experienced 2 pageants?
Good question. I definitely thought I was gonna do another pageant like after Canada's Top Choice, like right after, but obviously with COVID, that did not happen. And I was thinking about it. I just don't know if I would be up to doing a pageant in the pandemic. I want to do it in person because a lot of things I remember from Canada's Top Choice that I love was everything to do with the in-person stuff. But it would be online, which is not a bad thing. Just if I'm going to take time to join a pageant, I want to be in person. So maybe in the future, I don't know. I just got to see what happens.
Yes. Well, you're still young. I mean, there's so much left for you to do. You're just starting off in high school. You've came off of your reign not too long ago. So there is still a long way in your journey. But I do hope this isn't the end because I've seen you grow from Little Miss to Miss Teen.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of potential in you. You have an amazing, strong walk. You're clearly great at interview. You have it all.
No,
so
thank you.
please, let's not make this the last pageant. So what is it about pageantry? So you're already a performer naturally by dancing since you were 2 years old. But what is it about pageantry that you continue to which makes you continue to go to?
Ooh, honestly, something before joining a pageant is something I thought I would say, but it's definitely community. And PIC in Canada's Top Choice, it's just felt like a family, even though I didn't spend as long time with these people. It felt such like a family, and I felt so at home. With Canada's Top Choice, there was a lot of memories and opportunities, but what I remember the most and cherish the most is the time I spent with everyone in my category, my mentors, people not in my category, meeting new people from other pageants and other organizations. And that's just something that I love and something that I take away from pageants and something that made me do it again.
I love that. And so you mentioned the pandemic earlier, but your reign was halfway through the pandemic. You had your final walk through the pandemic. What was that like for you? Because I know you were able to see the queens before you have this full reign, do so much, and then you had the pandemic. What was that like for you to experience?
Actually, I was pretty upset because I remember on the night of the pageant, like the coronation of Canada's Top Choice, I was backstage and I saw people taking their final walks and they're doing their speech. And I thought they were so cool because they came back and they're I already won the crown and everyone's competing for the crown, So I thought they were super cool, first of all. And in every event, there'd be girls walking around with their crowns. And I'm imagine that would be me. That is so cool. So I was upset that I didn't get to go back. But I was glad that they did the online pageant because it kept everyone safe, which is the most important thing. And it gave me a chance to experience it in a new way. So.
Well, that's great. And I know it's upsetting. I mean, my reign is still going through a pandemic, but you also were able to do a lot through your reign. I know you volunteered a lot. You had a lot of appearances. and mentioned that you were a host for the CTC Up Close and Personal show. What is it like for you seeing yourself grow from Little Miss Philippines PIDC second runner-up to Chelsea Star now?
It's kind of weird, honestly, because when I joined out, let's just do it. I know nothing about any of this. Let's just do it. And now we're here. And it's just super exciting and super rewarding, I guess, to see all the things I've got to do. And it also makes me feel super grateful, because when I was younger, there'd be so many times where I'd look at something like, that is really cool. Like, imagine doing that. Like, I would look on pictures of you on Facebook or like Instagram and be like, imagine like doing that. Like, that's so cool. Like, because you had the crown and everything, especially when I joined PIDC, I was like, imagine if one day I can do something like that. Like, just even like teaching other people, which is something I got to do, which was cool, or mentoring other people, which was really cool. So yeah, that's how I kind of felt about it.
Well, that's great to hear. It's so crazy for me to see, like, when you graduated, like I was telling my mom, I'm like, I've never felt so old. Watching people like yourself or Nicole Min, seeing you both graduate at the same time, or seeing like other people grow up, I'm like, man, this is the first time that it's hit me. These girls are not Little Miss anymore. They are on their way to high school. But no, I'm so proud of everything that you've accomplished. I've only known you since 2018, and to see you grow so much from Little Miss Philippines PIDC to who you are now, it's so crazy, because you're just beginning your career.
Yeah.
So another question on Instagram, it has to do with the podcast, actually, with the CTC Up Close and Personal. So the question is, do you ever see yourself doing your own podcast?
Ooh, I love that question. That would be so cool. I had such a great time doing the interviews with Canada's Top Choice CTC Up Close and Personal, because it was really cool every time getting to meet new people and hearing what they have to say. And usually I'm the one being interviewed, so it's really cool being on the other side and seeing how it's like, and like leading the conversation. So definitely, yeah, maybe in the future I'll start my own podcast. Like, that sounds super cool.
I love that. And you should, because you have the personality for it. I mean, I watched some of your interviews with some of the people that you interviewed. I mean, you have me, you have Scott. So if you ever have any questions, you know where to find us.
I take a lot of inspiration from you guys. I'm like, okay, what would they say in a case like this? You know, like, I take a lot of inspiration from that, because you guys,
oh my God,
because you guys hosted a lot of things I've been a part of. And sorry, I just have to say this. There's a lot of times where things go wrong on stage or something, and you guys handle it so well. And I know you host a lot of things, and I was in awe when in certain moments, I guess, and I was like, that is really cool. So props to you.
Thank you. It takes practice, and I think having a co-MC like Scott, where we know each other's body language already, so when I know that he's starting to get tense, I jump in. Or when I'm starting to lose my words, he jumps in. So hopefully, if you continue to do the same, or you choose you want to MC events, you want to do your own podcast, you want to co-host, find someone that you click well with, because that helps a lot. Trust me, it helps. I've MC'd with a lot of other people, and it's just not the same.
That's interesting.
It is. It really is. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's very interesting. So another question that I have from Instagram is, what is your favorite type of dance?
Okay, that question, I get this question a lot, and I can never answer it. So I guess when I was younger, my favorite style of dancing was hip hop and jazz, because I was very upbeat type person. But then as I grown, I love ballet, I love contemporary, I love lyrical, but I love hip hop, and I love jazz, and I love point, and I love tap. I love everything. Even if I'm not the best at everything, I just still love it. So the answer is, I have no idea, and I don't think I ever will. So.
I love that. And a follow-up from Instagram. A lot of the questions are quite similar, which is why I'm kind of mushing them into one. So another question from Instagram is, I lost it now, is how were you able to continue dancing during the pandemic?
Well, my studio was doing classes through Zoom, and little cases where we would meet up because like things were opening and then they would close and then they would open and then they would close again. It was really hard, if I'm being completely honest, because I would like turn to my side and usually there would be like my friends laughing or the teacher saying a joke, but I turn to my side and there's like my dark, empty hallway in my and I'm like, okay, back to the computer screen. Or like we would be learning choreography for dances and I'm used to like having everyone like the energy and like seeing things come to life. And I'm looking at a computer screen and everyone's like glitching every move they do. And I'm like, oh. So it was a little hard.
Fun.
Honestly, the easy thing was it took way less time to get ready. Like I can get ready 5 minutes before class for a Zoom class, other than before we get like an hour before. But I miss dancing in person, but I just kept reminding myself like one day we're gonna get back to normal. So I just gotta keep pushing through it.
Yes, you're almost there. We're almost at the finish line. I hope. I really hope. But you are a great performer. Like I watched the CTC Give Back concert and seeing the girl group performance. Oh my goodness. First of all, I was watching it. I'm like, little girl shouldn't be singing this song, but I loved it. I loved it. I'm like, little girl should not be singing Toxic. And then I was like, okay, but Chelsea's not a little girl anymore. I just had to bring myself back to that. But you guys killed it. I loved like the choreography, the vocals, everything. What was that like to prepare for a virtual concert but film it in person?
Well, first off, it was something really cool for me because I've never actually sang with other people. And we put the final thing together and I was like, I'm hearing my voice like harmonize. I'm like, this is the coolest thing in the world. But we did most of rehearsals for that medley on Zoom all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And it was the most annoying thing, if I'm being honest, because I would try to sing, but then someone else would be singing, so it would cut off the backing track. So then I didn't know what to sing. When it got into a point where I had to turn down my volume and just sing it without listening to anything because I could not do it. It was so hard learning the song online. The dance was easier online, but singing together on Zoom is not something easy. But we just had our first rehearsal on Sunday, and it was just magical hearing our voices together without it glitching through Zoom. So it was hard, but in the end it was worth it. And getting to see everyone again and to film the actual video was really fun, and I loved it.
It was so awesome to watch. I loved seeing, again, it made me feel old when I listened to Mark and his voice was so much deeper than it was. And I was like, okay, I love it. I love that, like you watching all of you grow and forming into the performers that you are. It does make me feel old, but it also something that I'm just in awe of to see all of you follow your dreams, and you're still so young and it's so inspiring. There's people in the chats here. Hello everyone. If you're watching and if you have questions for Chelsea Star, whether it be about performing, singing, dancing, why did I say dancing like that? Dancing, modeling, pageantry, you name it, feel free to leave a comment in the live section below. Sarah Edmonds is here. She says, hello. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining us every week. So, Chelsea, you know, you've done a few pageants. You've done 2 pageants. You've been able to mentor. Do you see yourself going into the coaching side one day?
Honestly, I hope so, because it's like the funnest thing in the world. Like there would be times I would come to Canada's Top Choice rehearsal and they'd be like, Chelsea knows how to dance. Chelsea teaches the dance. Like, I don't know the dance, but I will teach it anyways, I guess.
I'm pretty sure I said that to you.
Maybe, I can't remember, but it was funny because I didn't know the dance either, but it was really fun. And I loved doing it, teaching it with little kids. And when they ask me questions, because it makes me feel like, oh my God, they're asking me questions. So I really hope so, because it's something I really like.
I love that. Well, I can see you doing that. You're very patient with everyone. And I've seen some snippets of like the virtual rehearsals and seeing you there. I'm sure you will grow up to be just as a teacher as you are a performer. And I can't wait to see that. As long as you don't steal my clients, I think we're okay.
It's okay. I won't steal any of your clients.
Perfect. Well, Chelsea, we're actually at the halfway point, which is crazy to think how fast this conversation's going. But we do have a segment on this show, which is 5 tips from a beauty queen. And having experienced both Little Miss, Philippines PIDC, and Canada's Top Choice, and just being a beauty queen and surrounding yourself with beauty queens, what would be your 5 pageant tips for everyone watching us today?
Well, I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget it. So number 1 would be to take risks. For me, when I first joined a pageant, like that was something out of my comfort zone. So something already out, like already taking a risk. But there would be little things. Someone would be like, does anyone want to host this? Or does anyone want to perform an extra number? And towards the beginning, I would be like, maybe not, I'd rather not do something that's not necessary. But as I continued on the journey, I was like, wait, I just wasted so many opportunities where I could have grown and learned as a person. So definitely take risks. Don't overthink things, I would say. I catch myself doing it all the times. Sometimes you just got to say, sure, why not? And something you have to remember is things will go wrong, and it's something that you can't control. I can name thousands of times where something went terribly wrong and I got off stage and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to erase my memory. But sometimes you just got to say, well, I can learn from it. And if it was out of my control, I can laugh about it later. So that's important to remember. My next tip is kind of cliche. It applies to everything, but it's something so important, something I have to remind myself all the time, but it's to believe in yourself and never give up. I'll give an example. When I joined a pageant, I could not walk in heels. Okay, my first pair of heels were these like thick blocks and they were like this big and I struggled hard. I remember walking in rehearsals and I would move my shoulders and people would be like, Chelsea, you can't move your shoulders. And I'd be like, how is that possible? I have to move my shoulders. And I remember going in my basement and just walking and walking back and walking and walking back and doing it again and again. I would ask people questions. I'd be like, how do you walk without your shoulders? And how is it possible for you to walk in these really high heels? And other people may be able just to put on a pair of heels and start walking. But I had to remind myself that everyone learns differently and you can't let that discourage you, and take risks in your learning. I love asking questions. So ask questions, even if people may consider it a dumb question, ask it anyways, because you have to get the experience for yourself so you grow. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on. But the next one is to practice. Practice, prepare, review, be ready. Especially starting out, I would review like crazy. So if I got interview questions, if there was a routine pattern, something like that, I would practice it over and over again to make sure I felt ready and felt comfortable. Because as time went on, then it was easier to do things without practicing so much. And you have to really take time to prepare for things and make sure you have all materials that you need. This is usually learned the hard way. Like you show up and someone's like, where's your headpiece? And I'm like, there was supposed to be a headpiece. So my mom bought like thousands of headpieces and she like brings them everywhere, and thousands of bobby pins and lipsticks and outfits. So you got to be prepared and you have to practice for everything you do. My next tip is to never take anything for granted, which applies to everything. Most of these apply to everything. But it's whether it's in your reign or just like the experience throughout the pageant, don't take it for granted. Especially last year in the summer of 2019, I was going to events like all the time that it came like a pattern. So I wasn't really like, oh my God, a new place. I would just be like, oh, this is like a regular weekend for me. But now in COVID, and now that I'm not in a pageant anymore, I miss it so much. And I really wish I took more time to be grateful for all of those experiences. I miss being with like my pageant sisters, and I miss learning from other people and meeting new people and performing. So never take anything for granted in pageants and in life. And my last tip, something I wish I applied earlier on, is that it is not only about the crown. Especially when I joined Canada's Top Choice, I was like, okay, I gotta do this. I'm gonna win the crown, and I got this because people look so cool with their crowns and I want a crown. I'm gonna work super hard. But then as it went on, I realized the memories and the experiences I got were like worth way more than a crown. And I felt like I heard a lot of people say this, but I thought they were just saying that to sound humble or whatever. But no, it's true. It's not all about the crown. And I remember I was backstage on the night of the coronation, and I thought to myself, if I walked out of here with like no awards, like nothing, I would be fine with it because I made so many friends and I learned so many things and grew so much as a person, and that the crown is just a thing. And it really hit me when my mom cracked my crown in half. So I was like, it's just a material. It's just something which is worth way less than the experiences you get. So those are my 5 pageant tips.
And those are 5 amazing pageant tips. But first off, your mom cracked your crown in half.
Yeah, we had to fix it. But it was at Mabuhay Festival, and she's like, this thing is way too big for your head. And I was like, okay. I should have gave context to this before, but she like bent the crown so it would fit on my head. And I was like, Mom, no, stop doing that. She's like, it's fine. And then it literally cracked in half. And I was like, oh, that's not fun. But then also it's like, it's a crown. It broke. So.
Oh my God. But luckily there's something called super glue. So you were able to fix it and put it back together. Because I look at the photos of your crown that we've used for today's thumbnail. Doesn't even look broken, so it's okay. Well, those are 5 amazing tips, Chelsea. And if people wanted to maybe learn more about your journey, follow your journey moving forward, where can they find you online?
Well, I'm most active on my Instagram, and that is at It's Chelsea Star. You can come on there, message me if you want, hang out, it's super fun. I'm also on TikTok at It's Chelsea Star as well. And you can find me on YouTube, just Chelsea Star. There's usually some dance videos up there and some like vlog type videos of events. So that's super fun. So you can check me out there.
Perfect. So I do have your Instagram down below, but I'll add your TikTok and your YouTube channel at the end of the show. So make sure you follow her journey because this is just the beginning. Your mom is on here and she asks a question. What is your memorable fun summer memory growing up that you wish you could do again?
Well, I'm going to assume this is in the pageant realm. So I'm going to go back to the summer of 2019.
The Mabuhay Festival when she snapped your crown?
That was a fun moment. There was a lot of times where they would be super late, which is something that was just the reality. Like we'd be very late. So everyone would show up early and be like, well, we're here for 2 hours doing nothing. So I think my favorite memories were just running around with the girls. And there was like this one time, because we would go to interesting places. Like we would go to festivals, we would be in malls, and we were like, okay, well, we're going to go to the weird store that we don't know what it is, but let's just go in there anyways and make some TikToks, or we're in a hotel, let's see what's down this hall. So I think just all the times that I got to run around with the girls and just like parents would be like, hey, where are you guys going? And we'd be like, we're just walking over there. We're not going to ruin anything. Were my favorite moments because they were super fun and I miss them a lot.
I love that. I do recall seeing you and Cole and some of the other girls just wander off, and I'm like, as long as you're back for curtain time, that's all I care about. But I love that you were talking about during training and your first experience in heels, and I remember the shoulders very well and how they were dancing all the time. I think it's because you went from dance mode to pageant mode. So I was going to ask you, when you brought that up, is how have you adjusted yourself, or how do you get into that mentality that Chelsea Star is a pageant girl right now? She's not going to be loosey-goosey. She's going to be prim and proper versus I'm going to do a hip-hop routine.
Well, at first, I thought they were very similar. Like, they feel like in the same realm, if that's the right word I'm using. But they're actually different in a lot of ways. There's a lot of sassy walks in dance, and like how you were saying with the shoulders, you gotta use your shoulders into it. But no shoulders apparently, and I was very shocked when I found that out. But after a while, it doesn't get that hard. Like I would go do a big hip hop routine, and then I like change into a pretty dress and be like, it's time to walk. So it's not that hard transitioning when I'm like in an event. But I guess in the beginning, it was hard differentiating things like, this is like a dance thing, but like this is a pageant thing. So you have to learn how to, like, it's different for things, but it's similar in a lot of ways as well.
Well, it's not that you can't use your shoulders. It was just a lot of bopping in your shoulders when you were walking. And I was like, okay, Chelsea, like, Your walk is great. You just got to bring those shoulders back a little bit. But no, like I said, it was so inspiring, and it's still inspiring to watch how you've grown from the first clunky pair of heels that you brought to a rehearsal, or actually the Little Miss Philippines PIDC pageant, do that rehearsal to where you are now. It's just so, I just love watching you grow. I love watching the journey that not just you, but everyone else from CTC or Little Miss Philippines or Miss Philippines PIDC, just to see all of you blossom into the women that you are becoming. So Chelsea, I like to ask this question to everyone that comes on the show. Now that your reign is over and you're not currently doing a pageant, what would be your dream title to have?
Ooh, that's a great question. I feel like everyone's answer would be Miss Universe, but I don't know if I would if I would go that far. I've always wanted to do an international pageant. I don't know which one though. I think a title that would be really cool to have is basically like yours, like a galaxy title, like in a category in Galaxy, because I've watched a lot of their pageants and I know a lot of people from there, and it's a really nice pageant, and going international is something really cool. So that would probably be my answer.
Well, I mean, Galaxy is always there for you, but there are also other pageants out there. But the fact that you said that Miss Universe Canada is too big for you, girl, it's not. Trust me. Trust me. Anything that you put your mind into and the work that you put into it, I can see you going very far, whether it be pageantry or dance or performing or modeling. Don't limit yourself. Well, another question that I do want to ask you. So you've done pageants, you've performed, you've done all these things. I know I keep repeating myself, but what is something that you've learned about yourself personally through your pageant experiences?
Something I learned about myself through pageant. Well, I've learned a lot about myself and just about things in general, but something I learned about myself is sometimes I can get really uptight when it comes to performing, like when something goes wrong. I get like really upset is something like I feel like I want to cry, but I think I cry a lot, but I feel like I've kind of learned how to go to myself. Like it's not the end of the world. It's going to be okay. It was just like a mess up or something. So I think I've really learned about that about myself because I was performing a lot more than before I joined pageants. So yeah, and it's something I'm getting better at. We're still getting there, but I guess the word perfectionist, I don't love that word, but I guess that's what people say, that they're a perfectionist. So sometimes I catch myself doing that, but I try not to. I try to say like, if something goes wrong, something goes wrong. You can't really do much about it.
That's true. Well, sometimes we just have to let go and let things happen. So I think that's something great, especially for someone so young like yourself, to learn. It'll help you in your career moving forward. So don't worry. It's okay to be a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist, and I'm not going to expose my age, but I am a perfectionist. But I think that's also a good thing, right? Because you have an eye for detail. You know what you want. You're motivated. You're driven. So don't look at it as something negative. I think it's great that you're able to see it and try to change it to become something positive. So Chelsea, if you're not dancing, if you're not singing, if you're not modeling, if you're not pageanting, if that's even a word, what are you doing? Like, what does Chelsea Star like to do off stage?
So off stage, I usually am practicing dancing in my basement. That's something that I've been doing a lot over quarantine, like just practicing skills that I see on Instagram. I'm like, I'm gonna try this. Usually doesn't go well. Or singing new songs that I hear, again, usually doesn't go well, but it's fun. But I guess over quarantine, I've been practicing or trying random things. So like I've been learning the ukulele, something that's exciting. I feel like everyone says this, but cooking and baking is something so fun and something useful. So I've been doing some of that. I'm starting to take Tagalog lessons with my sister, which is something long overdue, but something I'm excited for because a lot of people come up to me and start speaking Tagalog, and I'm like, I can't understand anything you're saying, but I will speak. So that's exciting. Just a lot of like creative things, I guess, like trying to learn how to draw more because that's something I've always wanted to do when I was younger. for some reason. Like I have multiple drawing phases in my life where I pick it up and then drop it. So I've been trying to stick to it at the time, making jewelry like rings and bracelets. So a lot of random things, but just random things that make me happy.
I love that. So not only are you busy on stage and multi-talented on stage, but you're also multi-talented off stage. And I think that's great that you're picking up all these new skills, because I think the pandemic, especially since we all had to slow down, it was the perfect time for you to pick up a ukulele, figure out how to make jewelry, cook and bake and do all those things, and learn Tagalog all at the same time. So I think that's awesome. That's amazing. Well, Chelsea, we still have a few minutes on this show, and I want our viewers to get to know you a little bit more. I feel like I've known you for a very long time, but some of them may not know you. So besides cooking, cleaning, dancing, all those things, where do you see yourself going in the future?
So I hear this question a lot. And honestly, I think right now I'm just trying to discover myself more and discover what I want in life. I have definitely, I have dream journals and picture walls and picture documents on my computer about things I want and goals and dreams that I want in life. But then there's also certain practical things. So I think right now I'm just trying to discover myself more. But if I were to decide everything, I would want to be performing in the future, because it's just something I love. Seeing other people liking my performances and being happy from it and inspiring other people, which inspires myself, is just something I love. So in that industry is something I'm so interested in and something I would love doing. But I think right now I'm not set on anything yet.
That's good. Keep your options open. But I love that. I love that you have all these vision boards and journals and manifesting things, because not a lot of people, at least from what I see, a lot of the people in your generation, I could be wrong, but are not as motivated. And so when I see people like yourself who know exactly what you want, or things that you do want and strive for, I think that's a very, I said it a million times today, I do apologize, very inspiring. You're just a very overall inspiring person, which is why I think that word keeps coming up in my vocabulary today. But no, I think that's great. So you're open to doing things, you're open to staying and performing. Do you see yourself walking the runway at a fashion show one day, in Paris or London or wherever?
Maybe, but I don't think that's something that would be again, nothing set in stone. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I decide, but I feel like where I'm at now, I don't see myself doing that as a full career, I guess. Something I want to do again, but something I just don't imagine myself doing forever, because I don't feel like exactly that is what's right for me. Something that's very cool though. I love watching fashion videos on YouTube, but yeah.
So do you see yourself more as a model? Do you see yourself more as photo model, print model versus runway model?
I see myself more, probably more on the performance side. I don't like saying this out loud, but I'm really interested in acting a lot. I don't say that out loud a lot, but here we are. So that's something that I can see myself in, because it's mixed with singing and dancing and everything I love about life. So it's something that is far-fetched, but something that would be a very, very big dream and goal of mine.
Well, anything is possible, right? Like you said, you're picking up all these different skills during this pandemic. Maybe taking a virtual acting class, one of those free ones, during this pandemic, you could add that to your to-do list.
I actually have taken a couple acting classes over the pandemic.
Awesome.
They're so interesting, because the tips that they give and the things the teachers say, because I went with multiple people with online workshops, I'm I've never thought about that. That's a whole new perspective on anything. So I have been taking those. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, it's been interesting seeing, I guess, the industry through another way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's great because all the skills that you have, whether it be dance, pageants, modeling, they all kind of go hand in hand. And have you ever found, or yeah, I do want to ask, have you found any skills that you've gained throughout your performing years that you can take out with you to the real world?
I've gained a lot of like work ethic skills. I think that's where a lot of my work ethic, I can't talk, skills
Me
come
neither, don't worry.
from. Because it takes a lot of motivation, especially like in dance. There would be times I'm in class and I'm like the only one who has absolutely no idea what's happening. I forget things super easily. I'm like messing up, and people are like, oh my gosh, how is this girl messing this up? Everyone got it so easily. So dancing, I would say specifically, is something that really taught me that to keep going and to stay motivated. Because if you don't, like if you drop things too quickly, you won't get to where you want to go. And if you're bad at something, you don't want to do it anymore, you're not going to get anywhere farther than in your comfort zone. You have to be bad sometimes, is something that I like to remind myself. Like in class, if I'm asking so many questions and people are like, how does she not know that? It's something that I just have to, like, I'm learning, I'm here to learn. I'm going to learn. So something I've definitely learned was just persevering and working hard.
I love that. That's great. And you're right, it's okay to ask. I ask questions all the time, and I'm a grown up, so don't worry. And I love that. I met someone through the sit down, John Brown, and he says that he is a student of life. And I think that's the exact way that you are. Is you are a student of life. You're a student of every day. Miss, you've done Miss Teen. If there were people your age who are watching and hang on, my webcam just crashed, so I'm gonna put it on you. But can you hear me okay? Okay, something just happened. But anyways, I'm gonna ask you anyway, if you can hear me. So if people your age were watching, what are some tips that you could give them if they wanted to compete in pageantry?
In pageantry, you should go for it. Like my tip, take risks. So that would be my first thing. Another thing is just if you really are interested in it, if you really think you're going to love it, and you think you're ready for it, because it can be hard sometimes. You have to really like push through it sometimes. And like, there are some hard times where you have to remind yourself why you're doing it. If you think you really want to go for it, I would say. So that would be my tip, just to go for it.
Perfect. And I have no idea what's going on with my webcam, so I'm just going to keep it at you.
Okay.
So can you see me, or is it just my webcam?
It's just frozen.
Okay, so we're just going to keep it at you today, Chelsea.
Okay, that's
It's the Chelsea show. So I think maybe let's start to wrap things up. So Chelsea, first off, thank you so much for joining us today, and for being a part of the conversation. Can you still hear me?
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun talking with you today.
You too. I do not know why my webcam decides to crash, and now my computer is freezing. All right. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, if people wanted to find you online, where can they find you?
Well, you guys can find me on Instagram, where I'm most active, at It's Chelsea Star. You can find me on TikTok, same handle, at It's Chelsea Star. And now you can message me if you want. It's fun time.
Perfect. Well, I don't know what happened to my computer, but I will figure it out. Chelsea, thank you again so much for joining us today. And to everyone, oh, it's frozen. To everyone, thank you for joining us. And I will see you all on Monday. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
You're so welcome. Bye.